Hi. I just showered because I was doing some crappy yard work. Hold on. This is so weird. Oh, that's why. It's literally a visual bug. Okay. My OBS was saying, like, it's getting only 1 KB per second or whatever. I'm like, that's not possible because I'm watching the stream and the stream is running smooth as butter, you know? Smooth as a hot knife through butter or whatever. Anyway, let's pull that out. Okay. I'm not going to vote on my own this time. That would be cheating. We don't want to cheat. Yeah. Cool. We have a wand now. Let's get started. Where is Bogus? Outside, okay. Yeah, we'll be fine. Well, no, hold on. Oh. Perfect. That water is as good as my milk. It takes a while to conjure, and we don't need that much. I did get Frost Nova. Amazing day indeed. Let's place the frost armor too. There we go. That's funny. Bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum It sounds like montage music, and I mean that in a good way. I've seen the fight. I'm the one who told him about the possibility of switching from mono to stereo when it goes 3D. Oops. Nobody noticed. She hardly gets a penny. Just enough, just enough. Okay, give me a second. Living just enough. Sit down. Sit down. Enough. Who in the heck guessed dead? Who would do that? You would. How heartless and cruel. Oops. I went the wrong way. Ba-ba-ba-bum, bum. Mm. Oh. I forgot about this. Ooh, somebody else voted. 14 plus. In 2 hours? In an hour and 45? You think so? Maybe. Easy? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where's the other one? I guess I already looted it. I don't know. We're good, we're good. We're surrounded by a bunch of fodder that I can just let them take aggro if that does happen. Yeah, this is hardcore. Does he have that? I didn't see that. Yeah, I've never done hardcore AoE grinding, so I'm just kind of blindly following Crested XP today. So you have to have Petri and IB. Unless it's LB. No, IB. Oh. Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm just barely off of a level 55 human warrior that died yesterday. And I've played mage. In fact, I did AoE grind on a mage in Season of Mastery, I think it was. So I've done AoE grinding, but if I remember correctly, I kind of brute forced it and died a lot. And I didn't take things methodically. Yeah, and that was right after a 58 hunter. It was fun. Got the playtime here. That's Imâge the hunter. Obviously, I'm Imâge the mage, right? So Imâge the hunter, 148 hours. It was Cecilia, not Monster. Monster is just my vanilla main. You've killed 3 level 60s. I'm sorry. Unless you mean you've PvP killed 3 enemy level 60s in hardcore, in which case that's kind of based. It's cruel as hell, but also, you know, kind of hilarious on like an objective level. The hunter was so much easier. He had like the best RNG seed, like Broken Tooth and Prince Nazjack or whatever, who drops Tidal Charm. Both of them within like 5 minutes of entering the zone. I might have had to wait a bit, like half an hour. I don't exactly remember for Prince Nazjack, but like Broken Tooth, I kid you not, I walked right into Badlands and he was there. And like all my quest RNG was great. I was like I anytime there's like a chance for it to drop that's kind of low, like I was getting it done really fast. And he's a hunter, so I'm just doing everything kind of completely solo. I hardly did any dungeons. It was great. Yeah. He died to the giants in Winter Spring because they resisted my feigned death. In my hubris, I thought I could take them. The warrior also was self-found, which is really interesting. When you're made, yeah, especially if you're like Frostbeck that late, it gets really rough. This is what is it, Doomhell? It's whichever one is the most populated on NA right now. Like I said before, I'm just coming off of a 55 that died in Jadenar in Felwood. It was rough. I was at the part where the last two braziers are, and for some reason the escort lady didn't aggro the ones by the first brazier, so she just ran to the second brazier, which like spawned the fell guards, and when they aggroed on her, it aggroed the guys by the first brazier, and we just kind of, we couldn't run away either because things were respawning behind us. Yeah, Jadenar was so easy on my hunter, and like, what the hell? No, go away. Jadenar was so easy on my hunter that I was having a hard time the entire journey, like, translating to myself just how much more difficult it would be on a warrior, you know? Because hunter was so easy, you just... You have all the tools in the entire game. I genuinely think that if... And I mean this as somebody who died on a hunter. I genuinely think if you don't reach 60 as a hunter, like, you fucked up. And I absolutely fucked up. I was doing an elite quest in Winter Spring. Entirely my fault that I died. One on the Booty Bay flight path, and the other one you killed on accident by walking in Silverwind Refuge. Ah. Yeah, that'll do it. Sorry, I have my second monitor down here. It's a repurposed art tablet from when I thought I wanted to draw. And I have my camera kind of small so it can fit in the little corner down here. So you probably couldn't even see what I was showing you. I'm not L-Mage, I'm Imâge. Imâge. I always do the little hat over the A, I don't really know why. I think it just kind of looks cool, I guess. I did, on the Hunter, run into a Tyrant Devilsaur, which I thought was funny that I just survived. Like, it was so easy to get out of so many things, but the, part of why I died on him specifically then is, like, yeah, I got resisted by, like, with a feigned death. But also, like, my cat died. So, you know, it was just a mishap either way. Yeah, concentration is usually it. I've the times that I got close to dying on my warrior, a lot of them were just I wasn't paying attention and I just was chain pulling. like, greens. Like, I almost died to the goblins in Stranglethorn when I was, like, 5 levels ahead of them. Because I just wasn't paying attention. If I had... I'm kind of relieved, honestly, that my warrior died because she was stressing me out, but if I didn't care... Or if I cared a little more, I should say, exact opposite of whatever I said. If I cared a little more about, like, going into Jadenar there, I probably would have at least, like, tried to get some healing potions somehow. I was self-found, so it would have been a little difficult, but I could have gone down to, like, Tanaris and killed for some Waste Wander water pouches for the level 25 potions, at least. Or 35? I don't remember what level they are. Yeah. Well, there's like a movement of people saying that warlocks are like the easiest to level with, and I don't get it. I really don't. Every time I have Voidwalker, I feel like he dies too fast, and every time I have Imp, I feel like I die too fast. So maybe I get that they have like Drain Tank stuff, and that they're like really durable until like level 40 or something, but they kind of rely on dots for a lot of their damage, and you can't run away when you apply a dot, because it just refreshes the leash consistently every tick. Dave, do you miss Swiftness Potion? That's scary. I mean, obviously it was scary you died, but still. I'm sorry, man. Level 30, that must have been like... What, like 3 days playtime? Something like that? 4, 5? I'm trying to remember. Whatever. Looking at your phone while auto-walking. It wasn't a problem in 2004. Instead, in 2004, we were dying because we were paying too much attention to the episode of South Park that was on the TV. If we were lucky enough to have our computers in the TV room. Yeah. I think the most demoralizing deaths are... I've had 2 at level 55-ish. 55 and 58. I think those were more demoralizing than any death I've ever had at, like, 20. Most of my characters died at 20-something. I think I'd rather... Like, I would have liked to get to 60. And then, like, die in Skullomance or something and kind of be okay with that. Or even in Molten Core. But that was also on the Racelock server, whatever it was, Skull Rock, I think, and they're kind of dead. Like, I'm looking around, and, like, multiple people passing me in an early level zone is, like, not what I had over there. I'm shocked at how populated this server is, specifically. But then again, this was my main server for a while. I only went over there for Racelock, to follow Path of Lyrics, specifically. Outpaced him, it was great. Did a dungeon with his friend Chug yesterday, and then died yesterday night, about 10 hours later. Clicking the Booty Bay Flightmaster. That one's gotta be... Every time I'm... Because I'm not really an Alliance head, but when I started hardcore, I started, I had a friend that was playing with me, and he's like a big Alliance guy from retail. You can see where this is going when I say from retail, but he's from retail. He died twice at like level 12 to 16 and said, I'm done. I'm never playing this again. It's like, okay, fine. But I was already invested in my hunter at the time, and that's the hunter that got to 58, so I just kept playing. And because he wasn't self-found or anything, I just kept playing on that hunter, up until, of course, he died, and the entire time I was sending money to my bank alt, to my auction house character, so I had like 200 gold or something. And just having that 200 gold or something, you know, was enough to have me keep trying new characters. And I said I wanted to try a warrior, so I kept sending myself, like, I kept sending myself fiery weapons and, like, rune cloth bags and stuff, and then tying in either Dark Shore or, yeah, usually Dark Shore, usually, to be honest. And that got annoying, and finally I switch over from Night Elf. I'm trying, like, Night Elf Warrior for some reason to, like, extra hard mode myself. I finally say I'm done trying Night Elf. We're going to try Human. It was a lot easier. But it's still Warrior, so it's still difficult, you know? So finally I basically soft get invited to the Racelock server in the middle of it. Just make a new warrior there. That's the one that gets to 55. But by the time I was like 30, people were inactive again. Like, the server went back to being one of the like 3 dead hardcore servers. And that's because like the streamers in charge of Racelock just gave up. There was probably like 1 or 2 raids that was run during my, like, by any of the Racelock guilds. I don't know about other guilds, but by any of the Racelock guilds, there were about 1 or 2 more, like, Molten Cores attempted throughout my entire 185 hours of playtime. And I think they were... No, there were 3. It was Tauren, Gnome, and... Dwarf. And Dwarfs cleared, Tauren wiped on Ragnaros, and Gnomes lost too many people to get to, like, Gar or something. Uh-oh. I didn't think about this. That's what I get for not paying attention. I didn't even really follow the journey. I was just following because Pathalarix, he's a Canadian Warcraft YouTuber. He was doing it, and he was having fun, and I said, I'll join you with the intent of, like, you know, tanking for you if you need it, and I ended up kind of over-leveling him towards the end, so I couldn't really do that. But his friend, Chug, it's Chug Life or something like that, he, I don't know what his actual... I know him as Chug, you know. He's just starting off on his own, like, challenge run YouTube channel series. And I did a Zul'Farrak with Chug yesterday. It was pretty fun. Being over-leveled and dual-wield tanking Zul'Farrak, but... That was when I was, like, 52, I think. So I got to 55 throughout the rest of the stream, and then I died. It was great. But, like, humans were dead forever, and I think there was, like, drama with the human guildmaster, or, like, he was one of those players that, like, says they're good, and then they, like, die to something stupid, and then they, like, boost themselves, or whatever, and people were getting kind of upset with that, or whatever. I couldn't tell you. It's all the same shit to me. I play Warcraft because I play Warcraft. I don't really necessarily want to join a streamer guild for the sake of being a streamer guild, you know? I'm rooted, I guess. I think I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Sorry about the noise. I have the fans on in the background. It's hot. I live in a basement, no AC. I've said this a million times, but I can tell y'all are new, so welcome. 56 gnome mage. Are you doing like AoE frost, single target frost, fire, arcane? Like what's the shtick one there? I mained in original vanilla. I mained a warrior. Or, sorry, not original vanilla. In original vanilla, I was too young to have a main, and I didn't get any character past, like, level 12. Because I was a kid. But, in 2019 Classic, I had a warrior. In Season of Mastery, I had a mage. In Season of Discovery, Phase 1 was a shaman. Phase 2, I think I was still a shaman. Phase 3, I think I was a shaman through Phase 3, in fact. Is Phase 3 a Talhakar? Yeah, it was. I was a shaman for the first 3 phases, and then I switched to warrior again. I just love Tauren warriors. And then I had a rogue alt that ended up kind of being my main by the end of it. He was the one that I was making. I had broken my foot, so I had an entire, like, summer where I didn't have a job. So I just, sat my ass down on my bed over there with my laptop and, my shitty little laptop that can hardly run Warcraft, even classic Warcraft. And I just killed, or not killed, I went to the auction house and bought up, like, all the rune cloth on the server, up to where it would no longer be profitable to make into heavy runecloth bandages, or runecloth I don't know, whichever one gets turned into Encourage supplies. And if you know anything about SOD, they kept up the Encourage supply bit forever. I think they just didn't let the bit die or whatever. So it was profitable to sell runecloth bandages on the auction house. So I'd just buy up runecloth and have, like, you know, all my bags, 14 slaughters, or I think I had one Onyxia hide at one point. So I just had all of my bags and backpack completely filled with nothing but rune cloth that I was turning into bandages. And my entire bank was, or not bank, my entire mailbox had like 3 or 4 entire like bag clears worth of this. Maybe on average only 1 or 2, but like I did have a couple times where I cleared out my mailbox, and I was doing that for half an hour, and then I'd open up my mailbox and there'd be another half an hour's worth. It was great. I wondered the whole time if I was breaking TOS by like technically price fixing, but my price fix was the flexible price of runecloth bandages. So I don't know if it's price fixing, if the price that you're fixing it to is fluctuating. Killing gnolls in wetlands. I don't remember what I did at 20 on my Season of Mastery Mage, but I think it was Gilneas humanoids. The guys... There's just like camps of humans down there. They're not related to any quest. They don't like... They're not even particularly difficult to kill. None of them are ranged. There's just like civilians camped outside the Gilneas walls. And you can just AoE grind them. They're great. And they're right next to, I mean, they're relatively close to the Sepulchre, so that's one thing. That's one benefit. I think Wallace the Blind here you can vendor to as well, so that's just useful as well. They are definitely really close to Hillsbrad, and of course, this is your next AoE grind spot. On the farmers and soldiers there. And then on the Murlocs, I remember I had a hard time and I died a lot. But that's because I started them really early. And I hadn't yet, like, gotten the hang of the, like, using evocation in the rotation. Excuse me, in the rotation, like, when to do it. So for the first little while, I was just using evocation instead of water, because I didn't read that you could even use it in combat. Like, I was that stupid. It's not like I'm paying attention to mages in my raid group using evocation. I'm usually playing warrior, right? So yeah. What time do I say in the poll? 9 p.m. I'm probably going to leave at 8:30 instead of 9. Not that there's like a reward for the poll anyway, but I will make sure that I'm level 14 before I'm done, just to you know, make sure that people aren't feeling cheated out of their guess. And I'll definitely reach 14 if I go till 9, right? So we're gonna call it at 8:30 because I gotta get some food before I head off to sleep at a proper time, and then wake up tomorrow for more practice time. Level 30 troll. Warriors don't ever get easier, man. I'm sorry. Even with a two-hander, you can hardly handle, like, 2 enemies at level that are, like, at the same time. Like, mages, hunters, soloing elites all the time. Like, it's free. Warriors, man. You die when you're, like, in the Ungoro cave, the gorilla cave. You could just die to the fact that the gorillas keep calling for more gorillas, and the gorillas gorilla or whatever. Stacking up spirit as a troll warrior, I can see that actually. I was when I was going over what I wanted to play for this character after the human warrior died, I thought about, or I mentioned, like, I wanted to play a mage, but I didn't know if I should play an undead mage or a troll mage, and troll mages are, like, way stronger in like, a PvE context. Okay, giant grizzled bear, you pump off, king. Like, they're way stronger in raids because they actually have, like, a damage buff, whereas everything the Forsaken has is, like, for open world and PvP. But first of all, open world stuff tends to be better for hardcore anyway. And second of all, I was saying, like, the trolls still have, like, regeneration, which was at least up until literally last night, a useless, like, completely useless passive, racial passive. And I'm saying this and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, but, like, also regeneration is based on spirit, so is it actually useless? So I did some digging, and it turns out that I'm kind of stuck on the mentality of, like, what people online were telling me back in, like, 2020. And they're like, hey, bud, it's 2027, or 2026, man, get with the times. Nobody said trolls racial is useless in years. I remember the meme was, I think it was like Mad Season Show or something, said, like, everybody considers trolls to be the worst race for the Horde. Because berserking requires low HP and doesn't do much. But, like, his videos were based on people's perceptions back in, like, 2004 to 2006. And I'll tell you right now, people were wrong about a lot of things back in 2004 and 2006. I was there. I said like one or two, like back in the 2019 launch, I was playing with just like random people doing random quests, because that's what you do on launch day. You just group up for literally every single quest. And some, I wish I remembered what they were, but it was so long ago I can't remember. But there was just like 3 or 4 quests where I said just blatantly something wrong and I didn't know that. Where it's like, oh yeah, you can, I don't know, cleanse poison by blinking or something stupid, you know? I don't know exactly what it was, but... I think you can honestly... From my time as a warrior, I think... strength, stamina was more important to me up until, like, 50. Than any other stat, including spirit. But once I hit 50, like, spirit became a big thing because, that I was looking for in gear, because food only goes up to 45, right? So the healing that you get from the food is just so low that, like, my downtime between pulls was enormous, and things were respawning behind me inside of, like, those, you know that one cave model where, like, it's just like a single room for the entire cave? Like, things were respawning behind me after I was pulling things in there. It was hell. Yeah, I mean, in all fairness to Mad Season, because I do respect his content a lot, he was prefacing every video at the time, because this was like, he was making these in like Legion days. Legion is when he really got big as like the guy who covered vanilla and older versions of Warcraft and like the stuff that we lost. And he did like make sure that it was known that like this is what people said back in vanilla. I don't think he ever made like a hard disclaimer saying, I don't know if this will be true if they ever make vanilla classic, which they did. But he did say like this is what they were saying back then. And a lot of vanilla private servers over the last, or like the 15 or however many years it was until they finally made, in fact it was exactly 15, right? 2019, 2004, 2019, yeah. Even in the vanilla private servers, a lot of it was not necessarily optimizations, because, you know, the high-end raiding guilds weren't trying to do world first on Nostalrius, right? So a lot of their information was also just kind of vibes-based. Like, imagine every guild is one of those dad guilds that at least, like, requires consumables and world buffs. But it's still a dad guild. That was basically like the Nostalrius, as I remember seeing it. I never played it. I was too young. My dad's in IT, so he actually understood what this meant, but he did not allow modding of any kind. I wasn't allowed Minecraft mods. I wasn't even allowed texture packs as a kid. Because he knew that I was going to get some sort of virus if I tried to, like, install the Nostalrius client and launch it. But yeah, you're right. Don't believe people. Games like this are where I say that, like, personal experience bias doesn't matter. Just literally do whatever, like, you think works. If you think, like, full stamina spirit as a warrior is just, like, the way to go, then do it. I even knew a guy who had a full set of intellect greens that he used to level up weapon skills that he only sold when he had all of his weapons at max level. He was a level 60 character, and he did this because, if you didn't know, intellect increases the rate at which your weapon skill goes up. So he did, in fact, have just like a bunch of mage greens that he equipped and then went out like into Orgrimmar and started punching boars or whatever with these low-level weapons. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But, like, if you can do it, like, go pop off, you know? If it was RuneScape, that would be meta, because people care about their XP per hour, but it's not like people care about skill points per hour very often in this game. Trying to strafe around these guys, but there's literally a clear path right the hell here. I've thought about if they reworked the stats just a little. Because intellect doesn't increase your damage, it increases your critical hit chance. I guess that technically increases damage. And of course your mana points, they call it. Oh, I see what it's saying. Keep the bear meat. No, we keep that. No. That can go away. That can go away. I don't think anybody's going to buy that, frankly. So we'll just vendor it here. I'm shocked at the market prices on things right now. Like, TSM is saying that Spider Ichor, however you call it, is 4 silver 76. Ooh, that would be cool. I think agility should increase hit chance. That could be like a way to keep weapon skills relevant because you still want to stack strength, but you know, your agility would still, like... You could supplement not having edge masters or human racial by having a lot of agility, which also increases your chance to crit. So, you know, that'd be like an interesting way to do it. But they'd have to make it like 100 points of agility for like... There's a Son of Oracle. They have to make it like 100 points of agility for like 1% crit or something, you know? Or not crit, hit. I've thought about stamina as well, giving you poison resistance, or like you have like a chance every second or tick of damage or whatever on poisons to like cleanse it from yourself if you have really high stamina, but like only past a threshold is this possible. But like, and that gets into stuff that I don't even think they're going to do when they inevitably do this Classic Plus or whatever they're hinting at, right? They're not going to rework the stat system, except maybe to make Intellect increase spell damage. They're not going to... And even then, I think they're just going to do what they did in SOD, which is just give more spell damage stat items, you know? But, like, I would rather they put work into making the world an interesting place to be in, even at level 60 when you've done everything. I would rather they put work into that than make it so that your spirit stat allows you faster movement speed while dead or something, you know? Every 5 points in int... Dude... I'm not even joking, intelligence or intellect would become the second most important stat, because agility's only there for, like, crit. Excuse me. Like, you get really high strength and attack power, and then you just, like, dump blood rages constantly. Or, bloodthirst. Bloodthirst is, like, the hardest hitting ability in the game. Except for, like, Execute, I guess. And Pyroblast, but nobody's using Pyroblast. Except to start a poll. And even then, like, Pyroblast doesn't scale, except off of, like, spell damage. And spell damage is, for some reason, intentionally rare to get in base vanilla. Like, I love this game. I love all the, like, shit they put into it back then. But, man, they were, like, smoking something crazy when they made a lot of their design choices. And I'm fine with that. It makes the game feel like... it makes the jank and inconvenience makes for a good game. I like that. I've had this whole like rant brewing for the last like 5 Warcraft streams, but inconvenience is like the reason that a game is fun. Because if the game was too easy or not an inconvenience at all, then you're not even really playing a game. Imagine that you have a gacha game, but like it's completely free to play. So you just like not even free to play, like free to earn. Like you just get infinite gacha gems. I bet even the highest, like most fun or like most biggest, I bet even the biggest gacha fan in the world wouldn't like enjoy that game because they just have infinite gems. They could just buy everything that they want immediately. The game needs to somewhat gatekeep you, yeah. I think gatekeeping has like bad connotation, but I do like firmly believe that you can't concede your hobbies to tourists. Like, there are people who have started saying, like, gatekeep your hobbies, and, again, gatekeeping has, like, a connotation to it that I don't agree with. But I do think that, like, you need to... things that you're passionate about, things that, like, have a passionate community, things like Magic the Gathering, especially, they need to be more willing to work with the people that have already proven themselves as consistent fans, rather than people who are just coming in and saying, change it the way I like it. It's like in Magic's case, because I've been complaining about this for years, it's my favorite, like, it was my favorite game for a long time, and I just can't play it anymore. In Magic's case, it was ruined by people who only come in for, like, a crossover. It's like, oh, I'm a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I'm going to join this game and only play Commander and then get really bored of it very soon and then leave if they don't make another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. Whereas, like, people who were established as staying for a long time off of the original Magic IP are, like, being shoved to the side. That sucks. That's kind of what happened to retail Warcraft, I think, as well. It's filled up a lot with, honestly, Final Fantasy XIV fans, but we don't need to be rude to them, because Final Fantasy XIV is a fun game, but it's been, like, fun balanced around, like, not balanced itself, but, like, the balance of what's fun in the game, or, like, what effort they put into the game has been balanced around cosmetics and rating and Mythic Plus. I've been saying forever that if they make Classic Plus, which it now seems like they are going to, they can't just make another raid log simulator, because every version of Warcraft, and we have 5 of them, every single one of them except for Hardcore is already a raid log simulator. We don't need our 6th one to also be raid log sim. Yeah, the 10 epic, like, when's the last time in retail that you, like, remembered the name of a piece of gear that you got? You can name probably, like, every weapon you've ever, like, bissed. You've ever got every biss weapon you've ever gotten in vanilla, you could probably name. I don't think you could name literally any piece of gear you've gotten for the last, like, 7 expansions. Except for, like, your artifact weapon, I guess, in Legion. Is Conquest of Azeroth like a private server? Like I said, I never really got into private servers, because after I, had that... I was going to say home situation, but that sounds like a borderline abusive... No, I had a great home situation, but... Like, after I had moved out from a father that probably rightfully kept me away from, like, modding websites... Okay, are we really doing this? I guess I'm in a dangerous spot. Hold on. But after that home situation, when I moved out, like, I had realized fully that I'm not really a fan of, like, IP theft in general. I don't mind whether other people do, especially if it's pretty much harmless, but I'm not a fan of like stealing from even Blizzard, even though they're the multi-billion-dollar company. Leave them alone. I recognize that like this is at least this version vanilla was at least a passion project by a couple of dudes in like an Anaheim basement, so I can respect that. But again, like I don't judge what other people do. I know that there's a lot of people who are very passionate about things like Turtle and Nostalrius back in the day and whatever else. Started playing. Yeah, that's. I realize that all of my grievances with retail started in Burning Crusade. So even though I love Burning Crusade aesthetically and through nostalgia, like it sucks, man. I'm sorry. I'm never playing TBC again. I've had people ask why I'm not like trying to do TBC hardcore or whatever, and I'm like, no. Like, what made Warcraft fun for me was that it felt like the world was a world, you know, a world of Warcraft. And it's kind of hard to feel like you're in a cohesive world when every expansion you get a new continent or sometimes planet to go to, and then that's the only place you go to for the entire expansion. Oh yeah. We like, what is it? I think Holly Longdale or like somebody else on the classic team came from EverQuest, and they were like the one classic MMO experience that like failed in some way, like EverQuest Classic, because they were just like forcing a seasonal thing, and people were like, well, I hope she learns from RuneScape, which is the most successful classic project in MMO history, more than the EverQuest she came from. And it's like, yeah, okay, here's Season of Mastery, here's Season of Discovery. I did like SOD. I think it was the most fun raiding experience I ever had. But again, it's like Season of Discovery, Burning Crusade, Pandaria, Vanilla, and Retail. So that is 5. SOD, Pandaria, TBC, Vanilla, and Retail. Yeah, that is 5. So out of the 6 versions of Warcraft that we have right now, 5 of them are endgame raid log simulators. That's all they are. They want you to go or get to 60 as fast as possible, and then just do raids. And they don't, like, there's nothing else to do. Maybe dungeons, mythics, and like the occasional strat live for like a Crusader orb. But like these aren't fun if you don't like raiding. I mean, yeah, those are fun, but like if you don't like raiding, then these versions just kind of aren't fun anymore, right? Meanwhile, look at RuneScape, which has so many different avenues of experience and so many different things. Like, Twisted Bow came out 8 years ago, and it's still like the most, like the best in slot, like ranged weapon or whatever. And even if it isn't, like, it's still relevant. The stuff that you got back then is still, like, you can come back after 6 years and feel like you're relevant. I think I've said, like, this exact vernacular, like, a lot of times, but obviously you're new around here, so I'm just kind of reiterating my point to anyone who happens to rewatch this if they do. Apparently, after I'm done with this, I'm running back to... I don't know, I think Minecraft is another game that, has a problem with... Like, it should have been gate-kept more, you know? Minecraft hasn't had an endgame update ever. Like, since Elytra, they haven't had a single thing for, like, endgame. No new boss. I guess technically Warden, right? But the Warden isn't even coded in as, like, a boss, and you can kind of just blitz it with netherite armor or whatever. Like, there's no strategy to it, as there is to, like, the Wither or the Ender Dragon. So as much as I, like what Minecraft does most of the time, like, they have the exact opposite problem as retail, if you think about it. Where, like, yeah, okay, both have a focus on cosmetics, but, like, retail has only endgame and anything else is cosmetic. Meanwhile, Minecraft has only cosmetics. I'm not a fan of how often these guys find it that easy. It's easy enough that, like, you can learn the speed run and beat the game in, like, 30 minutes from any given point. And after that point, it's not like a difficult game, and now it's just a sandbox game. And that's the point, right? It's a sandbox game. There is no end game, but at the same time, like, sometimes people want a bit of a challenge in Minecraft. I know somebody who built an entire beacon out of only netherite blocks. But that wasn't even, like, hard. That was just going into the nether and strip mining for hundreds and hundreds of hours, or however long it was. The crafting system was difficult, yeah. Think about back in the day, they didn't have the encyclopedia. You had to memorize them or go to the wiki. That shit was fun. Like, fun with quotes, but also it was fun. I think that was right about when the wiki was added, or, like, the encyclopedia was added into the game is when, like, Minecraft became a little... Can we just, like, not only add new cosmetic blocks? And eventually they did. They added more redstone and stuff. So I'm not even saying, like, Minecraft's a example of, like, the most horrible, terrible, awful system ever, but, like, it could have been all this time. They could have at least done something with difficulty. Because, again, I think inconvenience makes for a good game, but, like, all of Minecraft's updates... Not all of the updates, but, like, all of the updates to convenience that they have is always to make things more convenient. Now they have, like, an auto-sorting little golem dude, who, granted, is buggy as hell and is not useful, but if he does work properly, he would become, like, the perfect auto-sorter system, and then, like, there's no more inconvenience to that. And again, like, it sounds weird to say, but, like, yeah, inconvenience is, like, what makes for an engaging game, because if the game is too easy, you don't play it, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to use this now, make that. Rewarding and hard but not tedious. Yes, I like that. That's a perfect way to put it. If it's literally just click a button and nothing happens, sim, then you hate it. But if it's click a button and you win the game sim, then you also hate it. It's a slippery slope in both directions, and I don't think that there's, like, a single peak either. I think there's, like, multiple peaks that you can land on, because you can have entertaining games where it's just click a button and you win, but maybe you have to click the button a billion times and now you have cookie clicker, right? That game is rewarding, not because it's hard, but because you have like numbers going up, and numbers going up tickles that little dopamine itch in the back of your head. Yeah. Let's be honest here. A lot of developers, they're not even playing their own game. Oh, Dark Souls. Yeah, okay, they do. Can I climb back up that way? I don't think so. I think I'll have to fight my way back up in time to loot that guy. Okay. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're probably literally playing their game, but like, I don't think Todd Howard is like 100%ing Elder Scrolls 6 before he releases it, you know? And I wouldn't necessarily expect him to either, but I would at least expect him to like play through it once, and I think he will, but like, I don't think you get that from a lot of AAA kind of stuff. So I've got friends in Japan who are asking me about stuff. Not like they're not Japan. They're on a vacation in Japan. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't even made entirely by gamers. It was made by world builders. Chris Metzen isn't actually that good of a coder. He knows it. But he made like this dark fantasy gritty world about war, and a lot of his ideas actually didn't get followed through, and then, you know, Bobby Kotick comes in and buys the company, and yeah, here we are. Bobby Kotick. I don't know how you say his name properly. Bobby Rapist, that's his name. Different kind of gate. I mean, I try not to look too much at things from like a political perspective, but I do agree that it's greed. And frankly, you'd get this greed in any economic system, but it's especially transparent when you can see exactly where the money goes and how it goes. You know, the disenchant value is a lot less than the buyout value. I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, opportunists. It's like, no matter what you do, you still have to defer to people with... I mean, the word has strong connotations in today's society, but I will say agendas. People with agendas. And those agendas can be political, they can be social, they can be, you know, whatever. But you have to defer a lot to these kind of people. And you call that, in entertainment, studio interference, right? But the studio interference can take the shape of somebody who wants a specific message put across, somebody who wants a specific kind of character to appeal to a specific demographic, to do whatever, and they always have a reason that's not artistic integrity. And so, you know, a lot of people notice that, and they say, well, let's just make more indie games, and the indie games aren't, you know, beholden to anybody. But those people neglect... What the hell? Those people neglect to remember that you can't sell something without marketing, without production, distribution, that's the word. Like, there are systems that you do have to defer, at least somewhat, to, you know, let's just say distributors. We don't have to say producers, but you do have to defer to somebody. And at that point, your product is now beholden to somebody that has an agenda that's different than yours. Yours might be just putting out this game, and theirs might even be just putting out this game, but if the reason is different, like, there is a disconnect. It's like when you have somebody that you might disagree with. Why is this 4 gold? Okay, fine. I'll sell that for 4 gold. Also true. I think GTA was never bound to fail, though. I think it's too normie, you know. I know of people who've, like, blocked off their, like, they've taken vacation days that got delayed because of GTA. So they just have, like, vacations in, like, November of last year that they didn't end up doing anything with. Not, like, people I know personally, I just know of people. It could be that they're fake stories on the internet, but people were, like, planning on taking time off to, like, play GTA that don't normally take a time off to play games. I think what, like, defines a gamer has gone from, like, somebody who plays video games to kind of most people, because video games are just, like, an easy way to get dopamine, and everybody likes dopamine. So you have that gun and ball game meme where, you know, if the game is a gun game or a ball game, then it's a normie game, and that means, like, Call of Duty to FIFA. They always appeal to the lowest common denominator, and it's the same game across the entire genre. All the gun games are the same, all the ball games are the same. But they only exist because the market is just, or rather the consumer market, I should say, is as massive as it is. More people are willing to play video games. Because back when I was a kid, I was a nerd for playing video games. And, like, the cool kids in school weren't playing video games. Like, can you imagine that? Like, genuinely, can you imagine that? They thought Call of Duty was too nerdy. That's crazy. Call of Duty was a nerd hobby back in the day. Now the bad kites are called Goonigans? That can't be real. You're making this up. I'm calling your bluff. Yeah. It got to a point... Now, Grant, I was born in 99. So my childhood was essentially the early mid-2000s. Let's just say mid-2000s. Because early 2000s I was a toddler, we can't really... But like my elementary school, it's 2006 at a Chicago-based elementary school, and I'm like... I got kids asking me... Or not even kids, because nobody was my friend. I had teachers asking me what I did over the weekend, and I said I played World of Warcraft. But, like, I had a kick where I was playing Call of Duty, because most kids that played video games at the time played Call of Duty. And, like, I was still the little nerd kid for playing. I mean, granted, they would have, you know, considered me the nerd kid even if Call of Duty was mainstream, because I was playing Warcraft, but... It's still, like, ultimately fascinating to me that gaming has come this far. And I think, like, nowadays, gaming has become, like, such a broad scope, like, hobby. 92, computer, you played a lot, yeah. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, though. And it's interesting to watch sort of in real time, not even sort of, like literally in real time, like gaming has gone from a semi-niche hobby to now, like, it's kind of weird to say I play video games. Like, if somebody says, what do you do for a hobby? And you say, I play video games, what are they going to respond with? Oh, which games? But back in the day, you say... Like, even like, out-of-touch boomers, or whatever you want to call them, they'll say, oh, what games? But back in the day, they'd say, oh, you play video games. The end of sentence. Like, conversation over. They'd only ask if you play video games if they were, like, what games, if they were also a gamer. And then you would, you know, talk about what video games you play, and somebody would say, oh, I play Battlefield, oh, I play Call of Duty, oh, I play Titanfall. But... In modern times, I feel like they'll ask what games you play, and almost more than the fact that you're a gamer, you're defined by the games that you play. So I don't think, like... Or what I'm trying to say is, I think, like, gaming has gone from, like, a semi-niche hobby to, like, this is an enjoyable thing most people do, so, like... It's kind of like, it would be kind of like saying that I'm into sports. You today would not, or you at any point in history, I guess, wouldn't say, I'm into sports, right? You would say what sport you're into. I'm into football, basketball, I play soccer, you know, whatever. But you don't necessarily say that for games, you know, back when I was a kid. Nowadays... If people ask what my hobby is, I just cut straight to the point. I say I play World of Warcraft and League of Legends. I go to school literally for League, and I play Warcraft in my free time. People like you paved the way. I'm grateful for what you did for us. Your service is respected. Okay, I was just gonna sword him down, but I forgot they heal for some reason. Click the crate in the camp. Ugh. We're almost done for the day. And I've noticed, no shade to these people, but I have noticed that if you do just say, I play video games, you're probably a gun and ball gamer. An undead rogue back then? Hell yeah. Unfathomably based. My first, like, real main was a troll hunter. I named her the same name as my aunt's troll, Rogue, because she got me into the game originally. It was her brother, my uncle, that got the entire family, including my grandmother, to play. And so some of my earliest memories are running around Brill on my, like, 17th alt that I created that month. Because I didn't have the patience to actually level up a character with my grandma and my aunt. My grandma's favorite place in the game is Old Brill, and she was actually really sad when Cataclysm came around. See, you were, like, cognizant enough. You were kind of like a human being, and I was still just like a semi-sapient little monkey. So you were cognizant enough to actually do things. I just played Warcraft because it was cool. And it was only cool because my uncle and aunt and grandma played it. And then eventually my mom played it. And my dad, and yeah. Eventually I became the only person actually playing, like, retail Warcraft consistently. And then Classic came out, and I basically only play retail for the story now. And the story's not even great, so I don't even know why I do it. I'm addicted and I can't quit or something. Yeah. Original TBC was probably a lot better, but we're still facing the problem that, you know, even back then, that the world isn't the same. It's not even, like, on a superficial level, like, oh, warriors are no longer immediately overpowered, or, like, the best things ever, or, like, oh, you know, druids can finally tank, therefore the game is bad. No, I mean, like, TBC, like, just neglected the entire, like, this. Like, this is gone. This isn't a thing in TBC. You might as well just ignore this, except for, obviously, right here, and then I suppose your capital city and capital city. And then, of course, you know, up here, but that's even TBC content. Games separate would have been interesting. I would have preferred that they... If I could go back in time and smack them upside the head and say, like, your game is going to go to shit if you don't do exactly this, the term I would coin, like, 20 years before it becomes, like, a gaming talking point that nobody, like, knows enough to fully define, is horizontal progression. Like, you know those people who don't really know what they're talking about, but they, like, know one big talking point word that's, like, a buzzword? And usually, like, in economic, political discussions, it's, like, late-stage capitalism. Or in, like, the tech world, it would be, like, I mean, even AI, just as a term, could be used as that. But then they'll say, like, LLMs or something to, like, sound fancy, but they don't, like... They couldn't define what LLM means, or probably even know what the the acronym is. You know, those kind of people. The modern gaming discourse for, like, MMOs and what makes them good is defined by those people shouting at those people on the other side, and both of them are saying horizontal progression, and they don't even, like, understand it, I don't think. Because true horizontal progression is a sandbox game. But old school RuneScape is not a sandbox game, and they always point to old school RuneScape, right? Because old school RuneScape is the horizontal, like, it's MMO done right in this regard. But if I could go back in time, smack the Blizzard devs upside the head and say, like, this is what you need to do, I would, the term would be horizontal progression. You need to make the entire Burning Crusade expansion, make it something you can do to the side of Molten Core. Give us new systems, new professions, yeah, do all that. But, like, make it build on what we have instead of replacing what we have. Because that's the big problem in MMOs for the last 20 years, is that they've become a chore system that banks on FOMO instead of a living, breathing world that you happen to inhabit in a role-playing sense. Like, they've gone from... I hesitate. My grievances with retail Warcraft is that I hesitate to call it an MMORPG. It's an RPG, as in you have levels and gear and stuff, but it's not, like, you're not playing a role. In fact, your entire account is one character now, so it's like, why are we calling this a role-playing game, you know? Exactly. An unrewarding chore system that's just a grind. Like, they have it to be a grind for, like, more endgame gear. That's cool. That's, you know, I enjoyed that in vanilla, is that sort of grind, but man, it's different. I don't know. PvP dailies? Hell yeah. I vaguely remember that. But, like, even then, like, there's no daily quests in vanilla, aside from that, I guess. Even then, I don't remember if those were in vanilla, but, like, there's no... No, in fact, I think they were. I think you're right. PvP dailies... Excuse me. Being the only dailies in vanilla is, like, telling, you know? This is a game that wasn't based around, like, artificially getting you to keep playing. I think that's the difference. It's like, are they trying to keep you playing, or are they making it engaging enough that you want to keep playing? Anyway, I'm turning in some quests. I think we fly to the Undercity here. Yeah, we do. I'm gonna vendor some stuff, fly to the Undercity, list some auctions, I think. No. I have to go one by one because I'm dyslexic and I can't see these items clearly. Nope. Okay. But yeah, I think we're done for the day. We made it to 14 like I said we would. We're, excuse me. Let me just turn this in real quick. Tomorrow morning, tonight, if you're, those people from Indonesia, we're gonna be probably streaming League Practice again. Trying to get up to, Diamond again, so I could start boot camping new champions. Oh, Hearth. Yeah. Forgot. I'm just following this to the T. I don't care right now. Kind of free. Ragefire Chasm would be fun. But no. Oh, wrong side. My bad. Yeah, I think we're done here. I'm just gonna do this part off stream. I try to do the maintenance stuff, the crafting, etc. off stream. League tomorrow morning. Tonight if you're in Indonesia. Then we're going to, I don't know, maybe more Warcraft tomorrow night. I didn't intend to become a Warcraft streamer, but I didn't intend to become a streamer either. I just intended to post up my League of Legends practice as a stream so that I can refer to it in the future. And then just kind of took off. I say took off, like, it didn't get popular, but, you know, it took off from there. I didn't stop. 6... Yeah, I was going to do this off stream. Anyway. Oh, yeah, I mean, Warcraft I literally play more because it's my for fun game. But I go to school for League of Legends. I'm studying it like it's a class. Not to flex these bands, but I got a couple pro players that I know from school, like literal pros, were coaching me for free and helping me out. It's been great. Let's do this. So I play more League. Or I used to play only League on stream because I don't think I'm entertaining enough to be a streamer, you know? But I got a couple friends from Indonesia who were supportive about, you know, watching Warcraft streams and whatever else, so we just kept going, kept building off of that. So this one, League, nice. League's a fun game. But yeah, I'm at risk of just sitting here and yapping about League for a while. I'm gonna go. Yeah. See y'all later. Peace.